that my team always bring in the best of people. Thank you, Errol. It's Caroline Yaffe.
Yes, perfect.
Yoo-hoo! Thank you. And I'm so glad that you joined us today, Caroline, because this is not a phenomena. Now it has become a trend because so many people are going through this feeling. They cannot put a word on it. At times, you cannot put a finger on it. Some people start blaming themselves that I'm just good for nothing, or maybe I've gone really, really old and I'm just so mentally paralyzed, Caroline. What have you seen, let's say, in the last 1.5 months, this mental paralyzation where you want to do something, but it's just not happening?
It's a stress response. And it's actually when our brains lock up under pressure and we go into fight, flight, or freeze response. And basically what the stress is just the brain trying to protect you. Mm-hmm. So when the brain is I'm so sorry, hang on one moment.
Not at all. Take your time.
Somebody was just calling me. So when your stress is high, your thinking brain literally goes offline. And that's to protect you. And that's why you have that, I know this, but I can't access it. Like, I actually know the answer to this, but I can't access it because it's literally like you overload on stress and your brain freezes and locks.
Caroline, this sounds so much like ADD. It's all happening in your mind. Because if it's stress, and do you think people who are going through this particular moment, not a moment actually, this can perhaps go on for days maybe, they also tend to sleep a lot, not just on the task, but physically?
Well, I think what happens is they go into that anxiety, avoidance, procrastination cycle, and they start to feel like I'm just lazy. And I will tell you that lazy is not even a word in my vocabulary. I absolutely don't even believe that anybody is lazy. Mm-hmm. I think we avoid and we procrastinate. And I think a lot of that has to do with anxiety. Now, not everybody that has anxiety has ADHD. ADHD is a little bit different. I think it's more neurological. I'm not a neurologist and I'm not a psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. So this is just, my opinion.
Sure.
But I really think it's a very stressful time for everybody. And so I think our brains are on overload. I think we have so much to think about: our jobs, our family, mm-hmm. the economy.
What would happen? Yeah.
Yes. And I just think that everybody's brains are on overload. And I think it's a really normal stress response.
How long does this phenomena last on average, Caroline, if somebody listening to you and saying, hey, that's me?
Well, I think what really people need to do is they need to learn how to manage their stress, because we're always going to have it. And, when we're stressed out, we have those racing thoughts and our minds go blank, and sometimes we even feel it physically. And again, as I previously mentioned, that avoidance, procrastination. But I want to normalize something.
Okay.
That we're all going through this right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we're all in the same boat. And it's not about avoiding it. It's about managing it.
Well said. Yes.
We don't have to pretend, that we're okay.
And, Caroline, I need to add one thing.
Sure.
What further actually accelerates this or prolongs it is social media. So what happens? The task
100%.
The task,
you're so spot on.
Yeah, because the task you're supposed to do, you don't want to do it. You're procrastinating, and then you find things to pacify you. And
you start scrolling.
Exactly.
And now I think people are doing what I call doom scrolling. They're on social media and they're looking for bad news. And I want to tell you that they're reading erroneous information.
Sure.
I want people to just remember that you only follow reputable and
Official legit sources.
official, thank you, official is the right word, official sources, because there's so much junk on Instagram. And I think that people are really stressing themselves out. And again, when you are online scrolling, to be doom scrolling, you're just scrolling
The fake
on
dopamine.
Instagram, right? You're avoiding, and so you're perpetrating that anxiety avoidance cycle. You're doing everything else rather than what you're supposed to be doing. And I always recommend, if things become very overwhelming for you, break them down into small chunks. Break it down and don't overwhelm yourself. If you find yourself that your brain is frozen, you're having trouble motivating, pace yourself and take small steps. Action actually creates motivation. I know we think it's the other way around. I know we think we have to be motivated to take action. But if we take action and we push ourselves a little bit, we find that motivation. Because after we get done with whatever we need to get done with, it feels really good, and we wanna do it again. We want that feeling again. So it's really important to try to push yourself as much as you can.
How can we do that? Because I remember once I happened to, hear Gaber Mate, Caroline, quite popular
Yes,
on social media.
I know,
and
yes, very familiar with him.
Yeah, so he said that, it's the motivation that drives us to get into action. And if there is not enough motivation, you will not end up doing certain tasks. How do we motivate ourselves, Caroline, in these times when to avoid and to distract ourselves, we, just grab our phones and run for that fake bad dopamine?
Well, okay, I am so sorry. I feel like I would never contradict Dr. Mate, but I'm really going to stick with we need to push ourselves.
Of course,
Okay, and we need to ask ourselves the questions. Instead of saying what if, ask yourself even if. It's more empowering, because what we're doing is we're asking ourselves questions like, what if I fail? What if I don't get it done? What if I don't do it correctly? You have to talk to yourself and dialogue with yourself. Because can I just give you an analogy? Have you ever not felt like going to the gym?
Of course.
And then you kind of made yourself?
Sure, and especially...
How do you feel afterwards?
Fabulous.
Right. And don't you want to do it again?
But again, it's the same cycle, Caroline.
Okay, but think about, how am I going to feel after I get done what I can? And again, this isn't about pushing ourselves.
Yeah, Caroline, it works for some, but hey, it is not working for some anymore. They know that this is the truth. If I don't send that email, this is going to jeopardize my position at my workplace. But you still don't do that.
I understand that, but you know what? That's a message you have to tell yourself. If I don't get this done, what are the consequences?
What do you think about...
ask for help. If you can't get it done and you can't motivate, ask for help.
In the right direction then, because the moment you ask help for such a, weird phenomena, people will say, are you okay? Are you in your mind? Just go get the job done. So it depends whom you're asking, Caroline.
I want to tell you something. If you have a good manager, and I'm talking about in a work situation, and you have a good manager, and you go to that manager and you say, I am really overwhelmed. I'm not procrastinating. I'm feeling anxious and I'm overwhelmed. What can we can we make a plan? Is there something you can assist? Can you assist me? Can you help me? That's what your managers are for. It's not I think you're turning this into a very doomed situation. It's not. There's always an answer. There's always, these things are fixable. I don't want people to think that there's no possibility to fix this, even if you can't get motivated. And if you need to see somebody, if you need to talk to a professional, do so. It's very hard right now when we're overwhelmed. It's like overwhelm freeze.
That's right. Where do you place journaling? Because so many people vouch for that.
Journaling is amazing.
Okay.
Journaling is amazing. Journaling is like talking to a friend.
Because that is, if you don't have, let's say, a good friend, maybe you have a bad manager, or maybe you don't have a manager, you're the manager. So we're humans, end of the day, Caroline. So then journaling comes to your rescue?
No, I understand. But I think what I'm trying to get across is that this has happened to me. I mean, I'm human. I've had days where I don't want to do my progress notes. I have days where I have procrastinated on doing reports for patients. And I really have to talk to myself. I really have to dialogue with myself. And I have to tell myself, why don't you just start it? I always start things very early.
Okay.
Especially if I know I'm under a lot of stress and pressure, so I can break it down into chunks.
Do you start your day with a visit to the gym, or maybe at home, a little bit of exercise, that physical activity? Usually?
Well, I wish I was better at that.
Join the club.
But no, I'm trying, and that's why
cool.
I brought up the gym analogy, because I want to tell you something. Every time I make myself go to the gym, I feel amazing. And that's where my motivation comes from, because I bear in mind how great I felt. And can I tell you something that I actually do?
Sure.
I actually write in my phone, I went to the gym today. I felt amazing.
Okay.
And I reread it.
And it works for you.
And it motivates me. And I'm just saying, start small. Start small. If you need help, reach out to, your manager. I'm hoping we don't have bad managers. I'm hoping we don't.
Just trying to tackle all sorts of situations.
I know they're out there, and I know there are people struggling, but I'm just hoping that, we have supportive teams, especially now, because I think if there's any time that we need to be supporting each other, it's really now.
Spot on.
Because we're all, I want to really talk about something. I remember when we went through COVID, and I remember that every company and every employee was struggling. And I just remember, reaching out to colleagues, reaching out to managers. We all supported each other. And I think that's something that's so important now.
Indeed.
And there's nothing wrong, even if you asked your colleagues for help. There's nothing wrong with that.
So
ask for help.
Let me reiterate. The first thing, a very good tip that you said is start small. And then you said, talk to yourself. And hey, you can do that loudly as well if you're comfortable.
Absolutely.
Talk to yourself.
Talk to yourself in your car.
Then
that's what
yes, of course. I think that's the most safe and peaceful place, perhaps. And then the third you mentioned is journaling is good. and talk to somebody you can confide in. Usually it's family or friends or a manager.
Or a manager, yeah.
You have same wavelength. He or she understands you and knows where you're coming from. More compassionate, if that, I think that's a better word. And now, when it comes to all these things, if it's still not working for you, Caroline, especially in these uncertain times, they're still continuing, do you think the best is to approach a professional?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're here. And I want to tell you something that clinics are, we're doing whatever we can
Mm-hmm.
to help people, uh, financially. Um, I know that my clinic will offer discounts for people that don't have insurance right now,
Mm-hmm.
just because of what's going on and what people are struggling with. So don't be afraid, even if you don't have insurance, to reach out to clinics and ask them how they can help you, how they can assist you.
Have you seen more traffic these days in your clinic?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
kind of, because I think people are really struggling. And I'll tell you something that I just want to say to your listeners
sure.
about reaching out for help. I've been doing a slew of webinars on this topic specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been doing them for companies. And I want to tell you that I every company that I have done a webinar for, I've had the opportunity to talk to managers, talk to HR, and they are just so willing to be supportive. I know I'm not saying there might be one or two bad apples, but let's not let one bad apple spoil the whole bunch.
Sure.
But honestly, because I've had the opportunity to really reach out to these people, and I've been getting just amazing feedback about how much they want to help and how much they want to support their teams. And, it's really creating, what's going on is really creating a very familial feeling.
That's right, Caroline. I'm glad you said that because,
Yeah,
it all starts from the top and see how the leadership has
absolutely.
come together.
Absolutely. And that's the key. That's the key. It's like support your people and not just, support each other. Talk to colleagues. I talk to my colleagues. My colleagues talk to me. We talk about our anxieties. We talk about, how we're feeling. We talk about being overwhelmed. I really think that ask for help.
Yes, because we are humans. And
That's right. We
yeah.
all are at the end of the day.
You
Of
know,
course.
I can go on with this, Caroline, because I just love digging into this phenomena called humans. So many personalities, so many traits that we learn
I
about
know.
yourself.
I know.
So thank you so much for joining us this
Oh,
morning.
thank you. Thank you so much. Anytime.
Cheers.
And stay
Yes,
well. And I look forward to speaking with you again.
very
Take
soon,
care.
Caroline. Cheers.
Okay, I'm here. Bye bye.
Bye.